Item 22 is from the Land Use Committee without recommendation, an ordinance adding sections 48.1 through 48.7 to the Administrative Code, creating the rental subsidy program for low-income families that establishes a need-based local housing subsidy for homeless families, subject to the fiscal and budgetary provision charter.
Supervisor Daly.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, this is an item that was voted and then rescinded and continued last time with a 5-5 vote. In the meantime, there's a couple of minor adjustments that have been pointed out to me, and you should have an amendment of the whole on your desk. On page 5, line 7, it should read, the amount of the subsidy shall decrease as the household's income increases, striking the phrase dollar for dollar. And then on page 4, line 9, to add HSA shall provide staff and other administrative support as necessary to the Oversight Committee. Would make that as a motion to adopt the amendment of the whole.
Motion for the amendment of the whole made. Motion made by Supervisor Daly. Is there a second? Seconded by Supervisor Mercury. Colleagues, can we do the amendment of the whole without objection? And then on the item as amended, Supervisor McGoldrick.
Thank you, colleagues. I think it's important that I take a moment, and excuse me for sitting. I have a little tiny thing that causes me to have to sit my foot. So at any rate, I just want to explain that I'm not going to be supportive of this because I have, and it's a very difficult issue for all of us. Obviously, you all looked at this 5-5 while I was away, and I think we have a program here that has a specific nurturing aspect to it, which I think has goals that are pretty clear. There is still some flexibility in this. I spoke to Mr. Rohr, the director of our Human Services Agency, and back and forth speaking with advocates who want to continue this program beyond the 2 years. And I would like to ask if Mr. Rohr would please take a moment to, again, further the understanding of what this program is meant to do, because I find it convincing that this program with a 2-year, with some flexibility, a 2-year program that's in its second year is going to serve many, many families in a way in which it will, I think, motivate folks to try to avail themselves of the services that are available besides the $500 a month subsidy for rents. And Mr. Rohr, could you explain a little more, again, what the program is and what the goals are and why you think we should continue to support the program as it has been currently structured?
58. Through the President.
Mr. Rohr.
Trent Rohr, Director of the Human Services Agency.
I'm sorry, Mr. President, if we could, if look, I'm willing to take the loss on 5-6. I think we've been through this. It was the old college try, but I would just ask Supervisor McGoldrick if he's all right with just casting the vote.
Mr. President,
I don't know that Mr. Rohr is going to say anything. He didn't say last time that he was here.
To answer the question, because I've asked the staff to present something for me as the protocol and the courtesy of this legislative body.
Mr. Rohr, to Supervisor McGoldrick, the floor is yours.
I'll be brief, Supervisors. Again, Trent Rohr, Human Services Agency. The idea behind this program is simply to provide a short-term rental subsidy for families who are either working or who have good prospects to enter the workforce, to be able to support themselves in an apartment with assistance from the city and to avoid the homeless shelter system. The two major programs, SF Home and the Family Housing Program, just began in March of '07. The 2-year limit for the subsidies, as the program is designed, won't hit until March of '09. Legislation at this point restricting what we can and can't do with a program that's relatively new would really inhibit our ability to, we think, refine and operate a program that's most effective at serving families. And just to sum up, we've so far successfully transitioned 76 families off of the program into housing that they're paying on their own, and another 214 families are currently receiving a subsidy.
Supervisor Daly.
I just want to say, just to finish up my turn here, I believe that the program should be allowed to go forward as currently created. It's still almost in a quasi-pilot state. It's still a new program that a lot of the outcomes are being known on a month-to-month basis, and I would much rather keep it that way right now. So thank you.
Supervisor Daly.
I mean, I think that Supervisor McGoldrick's point and Mr. Rohr's point are, they would be completely logical and sensible if if this were an HSA-initiated project. Just to reiterate the origins and the history of this program, this program came about as members of the community engaged in the budget process 2 years ago now. My office helped to carry the appropriation within the budget. This board appropriated the budget, and then as we do, we don't administer programs here at the board, or not many of them. We send the money to HSA for them to administer. And so to defer to the department because of, their vision of the project, and not to the community groups and the supervisor that originated the actual project, seems to be missing something. If there were a point that Mr. Rohr was making that had a greater level of validity than the point that community members made, then fine, you can defer to the department over the member that originated the program. But there's a difference of opinion from those in the community and this supervisor. There's a difference of opinion between us and the department over what we should do with these families that are going to be thrown out onto the street, evicted, become homeless, or move out of the city. My position is that we should keep them in their housing, especially given the economic situation in the United States of America, the state of California, and the city and county of San Francisco, and the whole world, for that matter, right now with the global financial crisis and the recession that we're most certainly entering, whatever Mr. Newsom decides to do in terms of economic stimulus. Let's be clear. Families who are low income, who are working low wage jobs, are not going to have the opportunity that they need, generally speaking, to lift themselves up and out of poverty through working harder. That's just not going to be available to people over the next few years. That's the reality of this. This legislation would help prevent homelessness, albeit, I admit, it will decrease the number of future open slots that are available. That seems to be the policy decision in front of this board. Go ahead and make your votes.
Supervisor McGoldrick.
Just if I may, because I had asked Mr. Rohr one of the important questions here in my mind, in terms of something, again, that my esteemed colleague Supervisor Daly just mentioned about people being thrown in the streets. Could you address that? What happens if people don't succeed in this program? Because this is a specially tailored program to create a track of motivation for people to help increase their wages, and so we're basically subsidizing their rents, which, as I pointed out the first time we had this before us a couple months ago, are market rate rents, generally speaking. So we're subsidizing market rate rents, which I do have a problem with, but that's not the core of my problem. That's a sidebar issue. The core is here, what happens to people if they don't succeed in this program? Where do they go? What happens to them?
Well, Supervisor Trent Rohr, Human Services, we haven't yet hit the time limit for families in 2 of the 3 programs. Ideally, what would happen for families who, say, for example, reach the 2-year time limit, who are working, who are participating, that a dialogue would happen between the caseworker and that family to see if we could, because again it's general funds, there's no federal or state restriction on the use of this money. Would it work for the family to get an extension? Or alternatively, are there affordable housing opportunities through the Family Affordable Housing Pipeline through the Mayor's Office of Housing? Are there other interventions that we could work with the providers and the family to prevent that family from re-entering homelessness? Of course, we don't want a byproduct of this program families returning to the streets, but it's important to remember that the same providers in this program also provide, they either operate the homeless family shelter on 260 Golden Gate, or they manage the waiting list for the shelter or for the homeless family shelter system, or they operate a one-time eviction prevention program with general funds. And so these are the exact same nonprofit providers that provide the whole range of services to families who are in need. So we hope that by working, sort of, or maximizing that nexus of providers and clients, that we can prevent what Supervisor Daly is alluding to, which is an increase in homelessness among these families.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you very much.
On item 22, Supervisor Duffy. Duffy, no. Supervisor Ellsburn. Ellsburn, no. Supervisor Maxwell. Maxwell, no. Supervisor McGoldrick.
No.
McGoldrick, no. Supervisor Mercarimi.
Aye.
Mercarimi, aye. Supervisor Peskin.
Aye.
Peskin, aye. Supervisor Sandoval. Sandoval, aye. Supervisor Alioto-Pierre. Elliott Opier, no. Supervisor Amiano? Amiano, aye. Supervisor Chu? Chu, no. Supervisor Daly? Daly, aye. There are 5 ayes and 6 noes.
The measure fails. Next item, please.
Item 23,